Howdy folks and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to already sadly the last episode of this crazy and adventurous campaign with Germany. So as you may see here, there is a port here in the province of Canada that I occupied with my marines. That's actually a bug, a graphic bug. There was no port when my marines landed. And as you can see now, I kept constantly surveilling the supply situations because I was really getting nervous and anxious that my marines would have just been wiped out while the dockyard on the Labrador province was being built. The Allies did launch a counterattack, which, against troops with no supplies, led to a wonderful victory, and this forced my Marines to fall back. Now, luckily, the level 1 port was completed in the nick of time to allow the first wave of 3 mechanized divisions to fly in, and most importantly, to allow the supplies to flow in. And maybe you saw it, but my Marine division that was defeated was actually I manually ordered it to invert the marching direction and just move southwards because I wanted to keep the breachhead south of that river there. And as more and more reinforcements came in, namely in the form of HOT's second panzer group, I decided to launch the invasion of I don't know the name of that island. Of Newfoundland, I think I saw it now on the on the video, but yeah. Anyway, I decided to launch the invasion of that island there because it's kind of a strategically important position because by building an air base, a level 10 air base, I could redeploy my naval bombers there, and with that airbase my naval bombers could then reach now the Newfoundland sea south of that island, and by expanding the local dockyards I could allow my fleet to rebase there and start interdicting the enemy shippings between that island and the other parts of Canada. I'm really sorry, I know nothing about the geography of Canada and the US, so I'm really sorry if I just say, if I use these generic terms of this talking about my troops moving here and there, and yeah. Anyway, I noticed that the AI was, maybe, I don't know if the AI was busy redeploying some troops on the western side of the breachhead, but at some point that area was just devoid of enemy troops, and I was like, cool, then I can just try to attack and surround the bulk of the Canadian and American army located south of my breachhead. And the plan actually worked really well because, as you can maybe just see right now, the panzers took advantage of this gap in the enemy lines, and they just surrounded, I don't know, I think there were 20-ish mechanized and infantry divisions. Actually, yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is because of some scripts or something else, but at this stage of the war, I was really surprised to see how many mechanized divisions the Americans had. Oh my goodness, I was so happy that I had only a motorized and mechanized army, because if I had the canonical standard infantry divisions, I think they would have just been all overrun. So at least maybe on the speed side, both the Axis, I mean the German and the Allied armies were kind of on fighting on equal terms. And I did use my Marine divisions to land again around Halifax, and I then moved in von Kleist Panzer Group because my idea was to just destabilize the Allied front by opening a new, let's say by opening a new front via a second wave of amphibious invasions, and that kind of, I would say, worked, but still. The Americans still had plenty of troops, and it was at this point that I decided, okay, let's just try a third round of amphibious invasions, by landing around New York and Philadelphia. And yeah, I mean, this turned out to be, I think, the best way to unlock the, let's say, the stalemate that was present on the Canadian front. Here, I decided to use my panzers, my mechanized divisions, and my motorized infantry to attempt what I really like to do on the Eastern Front. So generate a huge pocket, the most decisive pocket that would, I mean, in theory, bring to an end the US Army. The invasion proceeded without obstacles, even though the Americans had one armored divisions, and then they kept moving more and more troops around the New York area. And luckily, I had von Manstein's second Panzer Group ready to reinforce the breachhead, while Hoth's panzers were dashing down from Canada, hoping to link up with von Manstein's divisions coming in from the south. And I was kind of afraid that something might have gone wrong, but at the end, this massive encirclement succeeded, and I was like, all right, then it's time to redeploy again my troops by moving in the panzers on the let's say the southwestern front, and the rest of the infantry can just mop up the remaining pockets of resistance. The Americans did manage to land one division in Boston. I was really surprised about that because my fleet was patrolling the Atlantic Ocean around Boston, so I really don't know how could the AI managed to launch an amphibious invasion without possessing naval superiority in that area. But still, the collapse of the let's say New England pocket allowed me to liberate a lot of divisions, and most importantly, this brought to an end the Canadian government. Because as you may have just seen, with the collapse of New England, Canada just surrendered. And the surrender of Canada brought me some new problems, because I was like, oh my god, now I have this huge front line to fill up with troops. And I basically recalled the whole Army Group A of von Rundstedt from Europe to the US soil. And you may have not seen that because maybe the video was going too fast, but all the US provinces with ports were basically, let's say, prioritized for a new wave of ports and dockyards construction, because I wanted to maximize the amount of supplies flowing from Europe to the US soil. At that point, I was like, all right, let's enlarge the front line by using the panzers to spearhead an offensive directed towards the southeastern coast. And again, as always, the idea was to surround and trap as many US divisions as possible. Although at this time I noticed that the US Army was already facing some problems of numbers, because while the Americans did have some troops on the ex-Canadian borders, they could not just face the blunt of my offensive, and with the superior speed of my divisions and taking advantage of the favorable terrain, I just overran whatever was left of the US troops outside of the New England area. I did the mistake of overstretching my front line, because at some point I was like, okay, and I need to recall von Bock's army group from Europe as well, because my panzers could not hold the Midwest front. And then something really unexpected happened, because I saw the Americans massing up troops along the border, but they never advanced. Had the AI advanced in that moment, I'm sure I would have faced some troubles, because I really had no troops to spare to both advance in Florida with von Kleist panzer groups and at the same time hold the front line with HOT's panzers. The front line was just way too big. And while reinforcements were on the way, I was like, okay, let's enjoy the invasion of Alaska. And again, another big mistake from my side. I did not have any Arctic support unit with which to, let's say, ameliorate the conditions of my troops. And yeah, the the invasion of Alaska took me an an incredible amount of time, because, oh my god, my troops were just so slow. I mean, the Arctic terrain, the low temperature, despite being June of 1947, and the lack of infrastructures were, oh my god, it was really the most unnerving moment of the whole campaign, because I am not really like that. I am the kind of player who likes, speed and massive pockets and encirclements. And when I saw that my troops were advancing at 1 kilometer per hour, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna take forever and ever. And finally, as the 32nd Infantry Division finally occupied the Aleutian Islands, I think they are, I was like, okay, let's just move this army back to the Midwest to just provide a kind of second line of defense against any potential American breakthrough. And again, I was shocked by how slow the redeployment was happening, despite me building infrastructures and railways in Alaska and Canada in an attempt to speed up the redeployment process. I know the mistake would have been just to put everything into one port and manually move them into Canada, and then from Canada move them by a railway to the Midwest, but I mean, I'm sorry about that. At the time I was like, okay, let's just hope that those troops will make it in time. And no, because things were going too slow, and because I calculated that General Sell's army would have never reached its starting position on time. At some point I said, okay, I just give up. I waited until the whole of von Rundstedt's army group, which was now deployed on the Canadian and American border right there, was ready before launching my final offensive. And well, with green air, there was nothing that the Americans could have done, seriously. And well, as you can see, after in some points along the US-Canadian border, the Americans did not even have enough troops to man the whole border, and my motorized infantry were just just marching without facing any opposition. And well, that was, this is what I really like about this kind of advances in HOI4, when you are outnumbering your enemy, that the enemy doesn't even have enough troops to man the whole front line. And I let the AI do the heavy lifting for me. I was manually, let's say, intervening in some regions, especially because at some point there was a big pocket forming up. And yeah, I mean, what else could I say? That was basically the beginning of the end. I don't know if you guys read the book of Philip Dick, The Man in the High Castle. I think Amazon even produced a series about that. But yeah, let's imagine the Man in the High Castle now, with basically the whole Third Reich conquering the Americas. And yeah, that was basically the end of this crazy grand campaign. And yeah, just enjoy the video. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Since I still have some minutes left, I want to tell you, stay tuned, because in the coming days I will upload an announcement video. And yeah, because it's time to bring some fresh air to the channel, and I will announce you guys that I will host my very first live stream. I do not want to spoiler it already. I will make a video, a very short video about that. But you guys, yeah, you will be informed of what will happen and what you will see on the channel in the, let's say, maybe, hopefully in the coming weeks. And yeah, as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay tuned for more.
Kameraden.